In this video, we'll show how you can use the built-in list templates to create great-looking list controls in the UX component. So you can see here we have a list control in a UX component, and we are displaying the list using a standard columnar layout. So basically all of the data is shown in various columns. But if we switch here to a free-form layout, you can see now we've got the same list, the same data, but being rendered using nicely styled HTML templates. And we also have the data basically in a snaking format going from left to right, top to bottom. So there's row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, etc. So Alpha Anywhere comes with a large collection of great looking pre-designed templates which you can use as a starting point. And then of course you can modify the HTML and the CSS used in the template yourself. So let's go and take a look at how we went from a standard columnar layout into a nice looking HTML template here. So what we'll do is we'll go back to the UX builder and we'll start from scratch building a brand new UX component to look like this. So we'll pause here and we'll pick this up in the next video. In this video we'll show how we can take a standard columnar list and style it so that it looks like the list shown over here. We were using HTML templates for each row in the list. So we'll go back to our list over here and we'll start out by switching the list from a columnar layout to a free-form layout. So we'll go there and we'll change the style from columnar to free-form, and then instead of going vertical we're going to go snaking left to right, and we'll set our basically item width to be, say, 3 inches. So that means that basically each row, each data item in the list is going to be 3 inches wide, and we're going to snake from left to right. So now let's go and define the template for this list. So we'll go here to our template builder, and here we can choose one of the predefined templates. So these are the standard predefined templates, and then we can click the More button and we can get a whole bunch of additional templates that have been defined. So you can see we have a template over here that basically is mostly a image, but it has some buttons, and there's another template. So we have a whole bunch of templates that we can choose from. So we'll go ahead there and choose this template. So we'll click OK, and that's filled in the template over there, and it's also filled in the CSS for this template over here. So let's go back to the template now and make a couple changes. We're going to change this from a heading into just a bold tag. So we'll go there and make that a bold tag, and then in the card where it says card heading we'll put the first name and also the last name, and then we'll go to this HTML markup over here and we'll replace this with again first name, last name, then we'll put in a line break, and then we'll put in say city and state, and we'll go there, and then we'll also basically change this from being a max width of 300 to a width of 100%. So the reason that we're doing this is that we've set the item width earlier to be 3 inches, and we want this template to completely fill that layout. So now we've chosen our template from the list of available templates, and we can go ahead now and preview the component. So we'll see now that we've gone from a columnar layout to a free-form snaking layout using a template, and we've got buttons here that currently don't do anything. And you can also see that as we give focus to each different row in the list, we're getting this background which we don't want. So we're going to go back to the list now, and we're going to go to list properties, and we're going to choose a sub-theme, and we'll choose the subtle sub-theme. So now when we go ahead now and run this, we can see that as we give focus now to the different rows, we have a much more subtle appearance. Now let's go and make these buttons over here do something. So we'll go back into our list definition, and we'll now go to templates, and we'll basically, not templates, sorry, items, and we'll create an item for button 1 and button 2. So I'll go here and say button 1, and then I'll do another one called button 2, and I'm going to make both buttons non-selectable, which means that when you click on them they will not retain focus. And so I'll go back now to button 1, and in the on click event I'm going to just go here and say alert, you clicked on button 1, and then I'll go here and I'll say row number plus, and then I'll just type in IA for the argument, so IA. So there we go, and we'll just go ahead now and close this out. And now we need to go and change the HTML markup to call this item. So we'll pause now and pick this up in the next video. So now that we've defined an item called button 1, let's go back to our template and invoke button 1. So I'm going to go here back to my layout, and then there for button 1 I'm going to go here, and I'm going to click on the insert template items over there, and I'll say insert a template item. So I'll choose button 1, and then I'll go with insert argument, and I can basically go here and put in a placeholder. So I'm going to go there and put in a placeholder for logical row number. So I'm going to just actually leave it blank right now, and I'll fill it in later on. So basically there's my A5 item button 1. It's actually in the wrong place, so let me cut that out from there and stick it over there in button, and I want this to be colon, and then we want this to be the logical row number. So we'll go ahead now and run this, and if I click on the first card, which is logical row number 0, you can see it says you clicked on button 1, row number 1, and then this is going to be row number 2, etc. So you can see here how I can use the A5 item attribute to attach event handlers to the buttons in the template. Now of course I've chosen just one of the templates here. There are several different templates that you can choose from, and of course in a real application you'd probably replace the image with a placeholder value from the data in the list. Thanks very much for watching. So in a previous video we showed how you can use HTML templates that have been predefined to create great looking list controls, but the exact same template can also be used in the ViewBox control. So you can see here we have a really simple ViewBox that is just displaying some JSON data that's been merged into a template. So if we go back into design mode, we can see that the data source for this ViewBox is just this JSON object, and our template over here is some bland vanilla HTML markup. So let's go now and use one of the predefined templates. So I'm going to go there and delete that code, and then go to load layout template, and I'm going to choose one of the predefined templates. So I'll go ahead here and choose, say, this template. So go ahead and click OK. So we can see that the template gets filled in, and also the CSS for the template gets written in over here. So now that we've got our template, we can go into this template and we can use the placeholders from our data. So we'll go there and type in, say, B, and then the closing bold, and then where it says card heading, I'm going to go here and say insert field, and I'll choose, say, first name, and then I can go there and type in, say, last name, etc. And then I'm going to just go ahead and remove all of this dummy text over there. Go ahead now and click OK, and then go over into working preview, and I can see now that the data has been rendered using a nice looking template. Let's just make this view box a little bit bigger. So we'll go here and we'll set the height of the view box to say 8 inches, and we'll set the width to say 4 inches. Go back into working preview now, and we'll see now that the ViewBox data has been laid out using a nice looking card template. And of course I could have chosen any one of those templates. Now the buttons in this ViewBox currently don't do anything, but I can make these buttons do stuff by going back into the ViewBox builder and defining some items over here, and then calling those items in the layout just as I did in the list control. So I would go here and I would define an item called, say, button 1. I can go there and make it non-selectable and then define its on click, which is alert you clicked on button 1. Then go ahead and click OK. Go back to my template now, and there where it says button 1, I'll just go here and say A5-item equals button 1. So that basically means that when I click this button, we're going to invoke the on-click handler for the button 1 item, which is defined over there. So we'll go ahead now and run this, and you can see now when I click on button 1, there's my event handler coming up. So what we've shown over here is how you can use the exact same layout templates, the predefined layout templates that we used in the list control. You can use them also in the ViewBox control. In the next video we'll show how you can also use these predefined templates in the freeform HTML layout control. In this video we'll show how you can use predefined HTML templates in the freeform HTML control to style a UX component. So you can see how we have a simple UX component with a bunch of fields, first name, last name, city, state, and zip, and then a button that just displays an alert. And let's say we'd like to format this UX component now using one of the predefined HTML templates. So we'll go ahead now and we'll add a new container. So we'll add a freeform layout over here, and then we'll define the template to be used. We'll go there and choose a template. So we'll go ahead and we'll choose that first template. So you can see now we've got the HTML over there for the template. Let's just go here and change this to say 500 pixels. And you can see also that there's no CSS here because the CSS has been placed in the local CSS properties. So local CSS definitions now contain all of the CSS that is used by this freeform layout. So now when we go ahead and we run the component, we're going to still see our fields, first name, last name, city, state, and zip, and also our button. And then underneath that we're going to see our card. But of course what we want is we want to have these input controls appear not by themselves, but we want them to appear in the card itself. So we're going to go now to the controls, and we're going to select this first component, this first control, and we're going to hide it. And then we're going to go ahead and choose all of the other controls, and go here and select hide, and then paste that property to everybody else. So set properties. So now we've hidden all of these controls. So now when we run this component, we're going to see the freeform HTML template over here, but we don't see any of our controls. So let's go back now, and now here we have our hidden controls, and we can place our hidden controls on the component. So let's go ahead now and just go here. We'll just call this user information, and then inside this paragraph tag we'll put our hidden fields. So we'll go here and we'll put our first name field, then a space, then our last name field, then we'll put in a break, and then we'll go to say city, state, and also zip. And we're not going to do anything with the buttons right now. We're going to just see how this looks, and go ahead now and switch over into working preview. And so now we can see our card over here, and here are our fields: first name, last name, city, state, and then zip on the next line. Now if we wanted to have labels above these controls, we would put those labels directly into the template, or we can go back to these controls and specify that they have a watermark. So we'll go turn on the watermark for that field, and then we'll turn on the watermark for all of the other fields as well. So we'll just go there, there. So we'll turn on the watermark for that field all the way through that field over there. And now when we go over to working preview, we'll see that basically the input controls now all have watermarks in them. So you can see now, by using the template as a free-form HTML layout and then injecting our hidden controls into it, we're getting a nice looking UX component, but we still don't have this button doing anything. So let's go ahead now and see how we can make this these two buttons actually do something. So we'll pause now and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing now, showing how we can take a free-form HTML layout and inject hidden controls into that free-form layout to create a nice looking UX component. And our next task is to make this button here actually do something. So when we go back to our component, we see that we actually have a button here called button 1 that currently is just putting up an alert. And let's say that we'd like the button in the template to press button 1. So if we go here, we can see the code that we're going to need to use. So I'm going to just go here temporarily and add another button called, say, button 2. And I'm not going to hide this button, but what I am going to do is go here to the text mode and then go and choose the method that I want to invoke. So button click, and what I want to do when I click on this button, I want to click button 1. So I'm going to just copy this code to the clipboard now and then hit save, and then if I run this, I'll see that when I click button number 2 over here, it brings up that alert. So now I know what the JavaScript code is to invoke a button programmatically. So I can go here, I can delete button 2, and I can go back into this freeform control there and then go to button 1, and then in its on click event I can just paste in that code. So now we'll go ahead now and we'll run this. And so now when I press this button, you can see the event is fired. So using this technique of the freeform HTML layout with hidden UX controls that are injected into the freeform layout, and using the predefined HTML templates, we can really quickly create some stunning looking UX components. Thanks very much for watching.